And I just want to be, I'm sure I'm not the first, although I might have been because I did know before a lot of other people knew, to congratulate you in this awesome role and honor of being a big leader in our market center. We have our new assistant team leader, Sissy Williams, here today with us. So we're going to change up the topic a little bit. And I hear that Sissy really likes to see faces on Zoom. Isn't that right?
It's easier than talking to black boxes.
Yes, I could agree with that. Okay, so I want to spend just a couple of minutes, if it's okay, kind of getting to know you and giving everyone here an opportunity to know you. And then I'd love to hear, just kind of give you a platform to share, why you have chosen to make this career move, and kind of what your vision is. Right, we have a group of committed individuals with us today, and in PC2, and what I always say is that our job as leadership, and I take this super seriously as a productivity coach, our job is actually really relatively easy. It is, okay, agent that has a dream, that went and spent a few $100 to get a license, and now you're considering joining our organization, or maybe you have. What is it that you are hoping to achieve, right? What is your goal? Maybe it's money, maybe it's not money. Doesn't make a difference to me. That's your goal. Okay. The second question I have for you is, why is that important to you, right? What is significant about making $100,000, or what is significant about sending your kid to school, or whatever it is, right? The third thing is, okay, great. Let's make a plan. Here's what you should be doing each day. Here's what you should, the metrics that are important, all these kind of things. And then finally is, we would like to offer you some accountability, right? We would like to walk with you as you are experiencing building a business, and all the highs that come along with it and all the lows that come along with it. And if we can do that, we've done our job, right? Because people will, from me being in leadership, I know there is a person will stay with you if there two things are happening. They're making money and they're having fun. First, as soon as they stop making money, or as soon as they stop having fun, they're at risk, right? So and I'm sure you know this, Sissy, that's one of our biggest jobs, right? Is to make sure our people are hitting the goals they want to hit, and they're having fun doing it. So I'd love to give you an opportunity to kind of share your vision for the Market Center, and how all of these people kind of should be reacting, and how excited they should be about kind of a new energy in the Market Center, and what they can expect from yourself, and from the leadership team, and from Roswell in general as a partner in building the business. So let's start off by telling us a little bit about how you ended up in Keller Williams Roswell, maybe a little bit about your previous work experience, and then ultimately how you came to Keller Williams, and why you have chosen to step into a leadership role.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm super excited. And if I get long-winded, just cut me off, because my husband says, sometimes you have too many details. So,
so we're gonna try to aim to end around 10 after 9 or so.
Oh yeah.
And then we're going to ask you what your one thing is for today.
Okay. So you first want me to tell you a little bit where I came from and how I ended up at KW. So I have a pretty eclectic professional background. I've done everything. I went to school thinking I was going to be an English teacher, literature. I got into my last year of college and thought, I still feel like a high schooler. I don't want to teach high schoolers. I could always come back and get the teaching portion if I decide to do that, you get my certification. So I ended up majoring in English, which is not very specific, is it? So I've done everything from write for a newspaper, software sales and training. I've owned a couple different businesses. My longest one was a floral design business for 10 years where I did weddings and special events. I've been a teacher. I've been a children's director for a ministry program at my church for 5 years. And gosh, I know I'm leaving some things out, but the point is I've done quite a bit. of random and different eclectic things. And I say that all of those really prepared me well for real estate, because in most of those positions, I was dealing with either people's children, which is their most prized possession, and then weddings. People get crazy during a wedding. And we know what that's like in a real estate transaction. That kind of relates really well, kind of keeping people calm and walking them through a process. Excuse me, I have fall allergies, so I apologize for the coughing. I got into real estate in 2012, I believe I got my license. And my girls were older. I have a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old, and they were, middle school, high school, and I felt like I could do it. It's something I'd always wanted to pursue. And I fell in love. It was awesome. And I started at the KW office in Sandy Springs, and it was a great fit for me. My sponsor was at that office. It had a lot of great energy at the time. I have no idea what it's like now. And that office did a really great job of coaching and helping brand new agents and then top producing agents. So when I got out of a brand new agent, but I wasn't a top producing agent, that middle area, I felt a little lost there. I felt like that office was not helping me in what I needed to do. And I felt like at that time, I've been in the business 3 years. I can go off into a different situation and pay less money is what I was thinking. So I went to like a discount brokerage setting. And I was only there for about a year and realized, you do get what you pay for. And I ended up at Berkshire Hathaway, where I spent a few years. And interestingly enough, I not anything bad about that environment, because that does cater to specific people, but it was very corporate, and they do a phenomenal job of marketing their brand, but not necessarily of helping you market your own brand. And I wasn't getting what I had always gotten and always remembered at KW, which was that the coaching, the accountability, and I knew I needed that. My business had reached a level for 3 years stagnant. It was almost the same exact numbers. And I knew I didn't know what to do next to kind of break into that next level, or even if I wanted to go to that next level. And somebody approached me and said, "Hey, you need to talk to Aubrey." And I'm like, absolutely not. I am not even thinking about moving, even though inside I knew what I needed. I was being lazy. I didn't want to make that move. So ended up obviously talking to Aubrey over a 3-month period. He never pressured me to come to KW. And I ended up back at KW in June of 2020. Best decision I've made. I mean, hands down. I've been with 3 different brokerages. And it's the best one. I mean, nobody does training like KW. Nobody has the culture that we have, and specifically the culture of collaboration and sharing. There's no like, "Ooh, this is my little secret. I can't tell you what I'm doing because you might steal my idea." There's none of that. There was a lot of that everywhere else I was, and that's not the kind of person I am. There's obviously plenty of real estate to go around. If something works for me, I'm willing to share it with you. You tweak it and make it your own, and vice versa. So I love that culture about KW. Thrilled to be back. And then when I was approached about potentially stepping in or interviewing for this role, initially I was hesitant. I thought, well, I do a good business, but I'm not, a gazillion-dollar real estate agent. And I thought that's what you had to be when you stepped into leadership. And I didn't feel honestly qualified at the time. I asked Aubrey if I could take the KPA. Let me see where I fall on that. And I actually scored better as a assistant team leader than I do as an independent agent. So that was interesting. So I really began to think about it. And this is several months ago. And the more I thought about it, I realized this is a perfect position for me, because I absolutely love helping and encouraging people. And I know what this company has done for me personally, and I want to be able to do that and share that with other people. So that's really kind of how I landed in this role. I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, it did. And just so everyone knows, and I don't know, I don't think there's a problem saying this, in the circles that we were in leadership and a lot of one-on-ones that I was having around this transition, your name was the first one mentioned every single time, just so you know. So this was not a, okay, the last 4 people said no, let's go see if Sissy wants it, right? This was like, how do we get Sissy to take this role? What do we need to do? So I just want to make sure you hear that, and I want to make sure that everyone else hears that as well. You were targeted.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so talk to us a little bit about, because this is a big transition, right? So now you step into leadership, and ultimately you're gonna have to make some transitions with your sales business. Like, what was it that attracted you to the leadership role, rather than just helping a bunch of buyers and sellers?
I really like, I'm a really organized person. I have to be that way because I'm ADD also. So the way I manage that is I am very structured in how I operate my life and my business, personally and professionally. I like the idea in leadership that there's a plan. And I know what my goals are, and those goals are to help other people. So it's very, very specific, and that appeals to me greatly. And as I mentioned before, I have a passion to help people. That's kind of how I've run my real estate business. I look at it almost as like a mission that I'm helping someone accomplish something very specific for their specific needs. So that translates very well into this role in helping agents, identify that first they want to be with us, but I really want to focus also on helping agents that are newer into the business becoming productive, and not giving up, because it took me 6 months to have my first transaction when I got started. That was scary. That was frustrating when you're working your tail off and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm smart. I'm willing to just, do what it takes. How come I haven't closed a deal? So I really want to help people get there sooner than I did, so that they can see the potential that they have in this business, which is really incredible, truly.
What, I love that. And I had a similar kind of thought process when I said, hey, if I can go and help, 30, 40 people buy or sell homes, what if I could go and help 100 agents that are going to go help 30 and 40 people buy and sell homes, right? Then whatever happens to be, whatever I'm learning, I just have a bigger audience for, and I can have a bigger impact in that way, right? I think that is just awesome. Tell us, what are you most excited about being the assistant team leader now?
Gosh, that's it. There are a lot of things, really. I'm really excited about getting to know the agents, personally, or when we're in this job, as we all are, you're kind of a lone ranger to a degree. You're working on your own, you're doing your own thing. I'm looking forward to getting to know people, and what their goals are on a deeper level, because I don't get to do that now. I do that with my clients, but I don't get to do that with the people I see and interact with in the office. And so I'm looking forward to that. That's one of the things. I'm looking forward to, Aubrey, as we know, is truly amazing. Robin's really, truly amazing. And so my goal is to help Robin just kind of continue that momentum. We're not going to do anything crazy and make any big changes that are going to disrupt what we've already got going, which is a really great thing. So I'm just looking forward to kind of propelling that, what we've already got happening.
Beautiful, beautiful. I want to give everyone just an opportunity to think of some questions. If you want to type them into the chat, I can ask Sissy, or if you want to shout them out. This is kind of, I can kind of consider this group to be, they're like the, how do I want to say? They're like the feet on the ground. Like, they're the ones that know about the problems before a lot of us know about the problems, right? So I, just from knowing you, as we do, you are ready to tackle those issues, right? If there's a gap in training, if there's a gap in communication, if there's a gap in culture, or whatever it may be, I feel pretty comfortable saying, hey, bring it to our attention, particularly Sissy, and let's all put our heads together on how we're going to address this. So you have somebody here that is uh, not planning on, hiding themselves in a room and not paying attention to the needs of the people that we're working to serve. Not that that's not an allusion to anyone else, by the way.
Right? Oh yeah, and definitely. And I want to say I am a problem solver. That's one thing I just enjoy doing. I don't know that I always do it correctly, but definitely. And I think one reason some people leave different places is because there is a problem, there is a gap, and it's not being filled, or it's why I left the other places that I left, because there was a gap. And if you speak up and the gap's not filled, you're less likely to stick around. So obviously I can't solve every problem, but if there is something that's needed, a topic, a training, a specific mastermind, whatever it is. And as you said, culture related, let me know. I really want to see what I can do to help fill that gap.
Excellent. Does anyone have any questions for Sissy?
Sissy, I'm really curious. Can you just give us like a quick overview of how you built your business, like what types of things you did, and where
Great
you
question.
are right now, and
yeah,
where were you in production when you decided to step into leadership?
Great question.
Okay.
I was headed there. You beat me to it.
Yeah, so I began my business. One of the first books that I read was 7 Levels of Communication, which I'm a huge fan of. That philosophy works well for my personality. And that's not to say you shouldn't step out of your comfort zone, because you absolutely have to in this position. But the very first thing I did was, and let me back up, I had come out of the children's director ministry role. That's not very corporate. So I knew that the people that my sphere that knew me, my concern was, are they going to take me seriously? Do they know I know how to do this? And are they going to trust me? So the very first thing I did is I took my Christmas card list, because that was my database at the time. And I took my neighborhood directory, and I mailed a letter to all of those people, snail mailed a letter basically saying, hey, I've made this transition. I've chosen KW because they're the number one, blah, 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 whatever our stat is. And I have a team of experienced agents behind me. I kind of played into, I'm working with a team of experienced people that know what they're doing. I can share that letter with you. It's saved on my computer somewhere if you want to tweak it in your own way. Then I mailed those letters out. Then I looked at the list of people I mailed it to, and this was kind of based loosely on 7 levels, this next part. And I looked at the people on that list, and I identified anyone on that list that was very successful at what they did, regardless of what it was. Anyone on that list that maybe owned a business, or worked in a position that also worked off referrals. And I called those people one by one and said, hey, could I take you to coffee one morning, lunch, or whatever? I did coffee because it was cheaper and I had no money. And it takes less time, and people appreciate that, especially busy, professional, successful people. And I would meet one-on-one with those people, and I would say, hey, when I made the call, I would say something like, I wanted to follow up, make sure you got the letter that I made this transition. I've seen what you've done with your career. It's very impressive. I'm wondering if I could take you to coffee and maybe pick your brain for about 30 minutes. And people were very flattered by that. And this was a win-win conversation when we would meet in person, because ultimately I would just briefly reiterate, obviously I've gotten into real estate. This is who I'm with, blah, blah, blah. Tell me what you did to become successful in your business or your career, whatever it was in that particular situation. what advice could you give me in starting out? And one of the best conversations I had was a friend of mine's husband is like off the charts, one of the smartest people I know, extremely successful. And so I called her and say, hey, do you mind if I call your husband and take him, letting her know why I'm calling her husband and taking him to, she's like, of course, go for it. So they had just been through a real estate transaction where they outright bought like a $2 million home. And then they sold their $600,000 home. So that was a pretty impressive real estate situation going on, and not ever having done one before, I was kind of blown away by that. And so I was able to ask, why did you choose the realtor you chose? In this case, it was a realtor they had worked with years before, they had a built relationship with. What was great about that experience? What advice could you give me starting out that would have made your experience better? And every personality is going to be different, but he was like, I've considered it more of a consultant role. You're not an agent, you're a consultant. I needed my agent to consult me on traffic patterns, very analytical guy, this, that, the other. So that was just very interesting that I was able to have that real estate conversation wrapped in. But at the end of every one of those conversations, I made it about them. Thank you so much. Again, I'm very impressed by what you've been able to do. Please let me know. I'm going to be meeting a lot of people from varied backgrounds. And this was specific to people who worked in an industry or had a business where they needed referrals. What type of clients do you look for? Who could I pass your way? So I would end it with, how can I help you grow your business? End of story. Not about me. Just the very beginning, obviously we're here because I'm in real estate. What can I do to be good at it? Then how can I help you? And what I found is that really made people feel good. It also showed that I was serious about the business, and it built a level of trust. I remember one of those conversations. She was a money manager. She has sent, what am I, 8 years in? I've been in contact with her over the years. We've done some masterminds together. This year, she sent me 3 referrals. She's a big fan of mine. Anytime I post something on Facebook, she's like building me up. She's sharing it. She's highlighting me in some of her publications. So, people really respect that you respect them. So that would be, that was one of the first things I did, Donna. That was long-winded. What was the next part of your question? What was the next part of it?
How you built your business and where you were in production when you stepped out to take this leadership role. How far?
Yes, it's interesting. And, and I've really struggled with this. This is not going to be my best year in real estate, which I thought it was going to be. I had a really slow start. I had a lot of really small transactions. And I'm like, it's killing me to go out on a note where it was not my goal. And part of that is I had some health issues at the beginning of the year, and I had to do a gazillion doctor's appointments to try to determine what was going on. I'm fine, by the way. But that was very distracting. It was affecting me mentally. So I feel like I wasn't on my game. But where I 6-7 million. So, top 20, 20%, but my goal was to do
way
10.
beyond 20%.
What?
Way beyond top 20%.
Yeah. So my goal was to at least hit 10, and I didn't. And so I'm a little bummed about that, but it is what it is. And life affects your business. It just does in this industry. So.
Right.
And what types of things did you do for like lead generation? What were your top 3 things that you focused on?
Yep. I worked my sphere. 90% of my business comes directly from my sphere. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to advise you to do it differently than I did. I didn't do a lot of advertising. I didn't spend money on leads. I pay, I'm in the Crabapple Neighbor. I have a monthly ad, and then I get to write a quarterly article. And I've done some internet advertising, focused advertising, if you will, Facebook, social media, that sort of thing. And I didn't really start doing those until later in my career. And I think the biggest mistake I made, and if I could, two things advise you as newer agents or kind of getting your business ramped up, start farming now. I thought, oh, well, I don't have enough experience. I can't farm. Until I really know what I'm doing, I'm not going to farm. Or I don't live in that neighborhood. I can't farm that neighbor. I mean, just really stupid. And here's the thing about farming. Like I was like 6-7 years in before, and I should have crazy name recognition. And I didn't, because I wasn't farming, and farming takes a minute. It doesn't, as we know, you don't send out 5 letters and, oh, everybody knows me now. No, it's 18 months. I would say some people say a year. I would say it's 12 months to 18 months. So I would say start farming now, even if it's just a teeny little bit. And what was the other thing? Oh, the other thing that I didn't do soon enough in my career, coaching and accountability. I was like, I don't want anyone telling me what to do. I don't want that pressure of someone saying this, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? We got to have it. I mean, we need it. I need it. Obviously, you got to have it. So I would say those are 2 big mistakes that I made, but I worked my sphere, and my sphere has been a gold mine. I really nurture my sphere. I love on my client and database. I do client events. I stay in touch. If I notice things on social media, I reach out to those people, make sure they know that I've seen, oh, wow, you've gone back to school to be a physical therapist and you've got 4 kids. That's unbelievable. How are you doing it? That's that type of thing. Just really nurturing my database.
Thanks.
I love the coaching piece, by the way. What has that done for you? Like, what can you just give us just a little bit more about that? Like
coaching?
Yeah. Why have you, I mean, by the time you engaged in coaching, you had, you knew how to do a listing presentation, for example. Like, it's not training, it's coaching. So what has coaching done for you?
For me, it's about accountability. It's about, I've got a million great ideas, but if somebody's not making sure I'm executing those, I'm probably not. So, and I think, as you said, Bill, coaching is different. You may need coaching on how to do a listing presentation. You may need coaching on how to have a conversation with buyers and sellers to get them to sign the brokerage agreement. Coaching that's why we all need it, because it doesn't matter what level of business you're at. There's something you don't know how to do, or something you need to learn how to do better, or something you need to learn how to pull the trigger on. And for me, that's what it's been like, get off the pot and do it,
Yep. And like, we've been doing a lot of role play lately in here. And I think what everyone is seeing is that just so small, just tiny nuances in the way you say a phrase or say a word, or choose to, pause or not saying anything. I've said, look, I could teach you how to sell homes in like 20 minutes. Everything else is psychology, right? And now we're just getting better at the psychology part. So we understand how to interact with people of different cultures and different behavioral styles and different, like you alluded to earlier, this was a big analytical guy, right? So we have to approach that situation differently. And they're going to expect us to say different things different ways than somebody who doesn't necessarily make decisions from an analytical standpoint, right?
Right.
What other advice do you have for agents here? Just to give you an idea of who we got in the room. There's a couple of agents that are, have had a handful of deals. For the most part, it's newer agents that are, kind of generally dealing with the overwhelm, right? They got so much stuff to learn. They want to learn all the neighborhoods. They want to make sure they know how to write the offers. They're constantly coming to the meetings to like learn what is new happening in the market, yet they may not even have the foundational stuff figured out perfectly. what do you say to an agent like that just, they got big dreams and they got a group of people around them that are prepared to, to cheer them on and encourage them, yet they may not have like hit their stride quite yet. But can you speak to that?
Well, I mean, this is an overwhelming business. I mean, there are so many facets of it, and it can be overwhelming. I think my first piece of advice, if you're newer, what are your strengths? What are you good at? Like, I was good with meeting one-on-one with people. So let me focus on that and use that to my advantage. If you're great with calling strangers, go for it. If you're great knocking on people's doors, go for it. You have to really find, and again, this is, it doesn't mean you don't step out of your comfort zone from time to time and push yourself to do something different. But if you are already comfortable and good at something, do it. I was good at nurturing my database and staying in touch with people. That was fun for me. So that made my job easier. I know in team meeting, Aubrey is like, what's the one thing you're going to take? I would say that, when you go to a training of any kind or a coaching session, just pick one thing to focus on and work on mastering that. And if some other great idea comes along, I mean, you can focus on that once you master the thing you're already working on. So there are so many ways to do this business, so many ways to market yourself, so many ways to lead gen. Focus on what works for you and then do it and be consistent and time block. I mean, gosh, that's a lesson, I tell myself every day is you've got to stick to some sort of schedule. And if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. If you take it off to put something else in its place, you've got to reschedule what you took off.
Okay, we just had a question about that. Can you speak to how you manage your day? I've coached with the person who's going to be your coach. So, oh boy, you're going to have fun.
Yikes. Yeah, I've heard. I'm in for it. It'll be different how I'm going to structure my day moving forward when the position officially begins. But as an agent, there has to be time blocked in for lead genning in whatever way you're going to do that. And we all know, if you've done any transactions, that, and for me, this was the hardest part of the job because I am organized. Your schedule, and we know your schedule can change on a dime. An example, was it 2 weeks ago? I had a closing on Friday morning at 10 a.m. At Thursday, 9:30 p.m., my seller said, I just fell through the attic and busted a hole in the ceiling. The walkthrough was at 8:30 the next morning. So, so my night was wrecked. My morning was wrecked, trying to resolve that issue. So there are going to be things that come up. You can't map out your day in such a way that, check. At the end of the day, you've done it all. But you have to make sure that you have checked the big items, the big important things, which in our business, we know is the lead gen and the follow-up, because without those two things, there is no business.
How have you managed? I think when that question is asked, the generalized go-to is how do you manage your business? But what I think should also be asked is how do you manage the blend of your business and your personal life, right? How are you making certain that you give your business the time it deserves so that you can give your family the time that it deserves?
It's a challenge. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. I'm not going to lie about that. It's a challenge. But I think when you do need to learn to set boundaries, I'm a pretty accommodating person. So, if early on, if I'd get a 11 o'clock phone call, I was answering it. Like, what the heck? You can't solve an issue at 11 o'clock at night. End of story. You cannot.
Not even somebody falling through the attic. I mean, like,
right.
Most of us would hear that. This is the first thing that I heard when you said that is, I bet you everyone on this call is thinking that's an emergency. the fact of the matter is, it's not an emergency. Like, there ain't nothing that's going to happen at midnight about it.
Right. And there was
Nobody
a time,
anticipated this. We all just got to put our heads together and see how to
right.
figure it out.
You got to solve the problem.
Right.
And there would have been a time in this career that would have kept me up all night long. I would have lost my mind out of stress. And I did not even call the other agent because I thought, we can't resolve it. I was spinning in my mind how I was going to be resolving it with my contractor, but calling the other agent at 9:30, stressing the other agent out, then them potentially calling their buyer, freaking their buyer, that does nothing. Then everybody is just like lost their minds. Like, so you do have to set boundaries. When my kids were younger and lived at home, I would take my phone out of my room, get it out. Once they got into college, like I'm like, somebody might, do something stupid in the middle of the night. I need my phone. But setting boundaries with your clients, if you are doing something with your family, you have an appointment. I'm sorry, I can't show you that house because I have an appointment. None of their business what your appointment is. Your appointment may be to go get your eyebrows waxed. If you've got something personal you need to take care of, that goes on the calendar, and you do have to protect that. You have to, because family is number one always.
Yep. It kind of reminds me of, so I posted, there's a new, actually, I think it's a little older, but Gary Keller was interviewed by Jeff Woods from The One Thing, the podcast, and it was on goals and thinking big and these kind of things. I shared it with the group a few days ago, and I was listening to it again, and he said early on in him and his wife's relationship, right, when he was building KW, and I'm sure he was overwhelmed, right? He would be at dinner with his wife, and the phone would ring, and he would let it ring, and his wife's like, "Why aren't you answering the phone?" He says, "Because I'm with you. You, like, if I answer the phone, I'm gonna need to deal with whatever the phone says to deal with, but I'm with you. So are you telling me you would prefer me to be distracted by this phone? Or are you telling me that you want me to respect who I'm present with right now and deal with that whenever I get a chance to deal with that?"
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately she said, "No, I would prefer that you stay here at dinner with me." And then that became the new standard, right? Yeah. So we have an opportunity to set standards really high or really low or these kind of things. And there were many days in my business where I'd try all damn day to find an appointment to take me away from dinner. Not intentionally, but I just wanted an appointment.
Yeah.
Right. And when I let's say it didn't happen that day and I went home to hang out with my wife for dinner, in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I'm only here because I couldn't book an appointment. Like, how messed up is that? You see what I'm saying? The whole point is to fund the business or use business to fund the life, right? Corey.
Hi. I thought I would use the tool. Hi, Sissy. So I've got two questions. One is about coaching, and one is about something that happened in your career, like maybe a mistake or something that just that you learned from, like something that you could advise us from. So I guess let's start with the learning. So like what is something that either it was a mistake on your part or something you observed from another agent that they did, that's almost like the better thing, that you can see somebody else doing it and then learn from that and never repeat it. But just something that you can apply and, with advice for us.
Great question.
Yeah. I'll try to think of a specific example, but like a generalization is we have to deliver bad news in this business sometimes, and it stinks. I hate it. I hate breaking people's hearts, and just when they get disappointed, I hate when just something terrible happens or unexpected happens. But I would say don't delay. It's really important that you deliver the news as quickly as possible. And preferably having a solution or some solution, potential solutions in mind for whatever you're delivering. The other thing is, you're going to deal with some crazy agents. You're going to deal with people you're like, how are they succeeding? Like, how did they even get hired? They are incompetent or they're rude. And you have to you can go vent with your fellow realtors about that. Don't share that, well, that agent is a complete idiot with your clients. You know what I'm saying? Like they've got enough that they're processing, and once you do a couple transactions, it's fascinating. People make all kinds of assumptions. Well, they didn't like our offer because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, maybe they didn't like your offer because it wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? Like they're reading all kinds of stuff into why the other parties reacted the way they did. Oh, they're going to play hardball with me. Well, then tell them that, that kind of stuff. Your part of your job, our job, is to keep everybody calm. Like, let's think about this reasonably. And we don't know why we may not ever know why they responded this way or didn't accept this or that, this, that, and the other. So you're going to deal with a lot of emotions. Keep your emotions out of it. And then use your fellow realtors, call me, and we can talk about how crazy everybody is, because you'll deal with that, but you don't need to add to the crazy. I'm trying to think. I had a mistake within the past 2 years, and I'm going to have to look back at my notes, because here's the kind of person I am. Once I'm done with it, I'm done with it. But I messed up something.
So that's great advice right there. I mean, let's not discount that, right? Once we put our body and our brain through the torture of that experience, you've learned what you need to learn. Quit thinking about it.
Exactly. And it was something it was a multiple offer situation. And I mixed up some numbers. Like when I put it all out on a spreadsheet, and the winning offer, I typed the wrong number, not significantly, but y'all, I didn't catch it for like weeks. I mean, that was a price of, it wasn't significant, but it was enough that I was like, no. And I went back and I looked, maybe I just mistyped it here, but I didn't, that's not what I sent to my client. And no, I'd sent it. And so I had to fess up and say, and I knew this person, and she was selling her mom's home. And I had to say, listen, I mistyped that. I know verbally I said one thing, which was the correct thing. I'd said the correct thing, but I too had been looking at the wrong thing the whole time in every conversation after that. So I had to fess up to that and, take care of that. So I would say, don't hide your mistakes, because they will bite you in the butt. So if you make a mistake, just admit to it and come up with a solution on how you're going to take care of it if it was your fault.
Yeah, I throw one idea in there is, so in career visioning, there's a question during the expectations setting phase. Sissy, I'm confident that you received this question, and there's a couple people in the room that I've done career visioning with. And it's, should I have to deliver bad news to you? How would you like me to do that? Right? Or should I have to, have an uncomfortable conversation with you about whatever, performance or culture or whatever it is? How would you like me to address that with you?
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think I've ever had a real estate transaction. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deals. I don't think I've ever had one where everything worked perfectly. Right. I mean,
I had one and I felt really guilty.
Right. Yeah. You got your check and you're like, wait, I didn't have to solve any problems here.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I didn't have to give anyone marital counseling. Wow, this is pretty cool. Right. And what ultimately happens is there's going to be some moment in that transaction where they're going to have to hear something that they quite frankly don't really want to hear. And so I don't see any problem with, when you're in that initial phase of your courtship, to say, hey, we're going to be working together, and just so you know, I'm going to set great expectations for you, and I'm going to do absolutely the best I can to represent you. But this is truly a negotiation, right? So like, it's not a win. I'm not going to win every fight. Like there's a little give and take here. So if I have to deliver, news that is unfortunate news or something that you're not expecting or you don't want to hear, how would you like me to do that with you? And people really appreciate that question. And then it allows you to continue to be that calming force in the transaction. Number one,
I
they
love
know
that.
that it's not going to work out perfectly. And number two, they have shared with you how to express those tough conversations. Right. So a lot of the stuff that I've learned from doing career visioning a bunch, I can teach you guys, and I can adopt in the sales business because, how do I win with you? Right? How do I lose with you? That's another way of saying what Sissy said at the beginning is, hey, share with me a little bit about the ways that you built your business, the ways that you struggled, or who your ideal client is, or who your ideal client is not, right? And the more you ask, the more you'll learn. All right, let's do like maybe one more question for Sissy, and then we'll do our one thing exercise. Sissy, any parting words, any kind of, sometimes I'll ask the question like, pretend you had a billboard and you got an opportunity to just share something with anyone who would listen. What should go on the billboard? What do you want to teach?
Gosh, no pressure, Bill. That's a serious billboard.
You can tell everyone that's driving on Georgia 400 something today. What are you going to tell them?
And also, sorry, but I wanted to follow up on my second question.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
No, it's okay. And you can weave this into your whatever you say. But you mentioned coaching as one of your two things. So I thought that would be appropriate to follow up on. How do you suggest that we go about choosing our coach? Because, there's a plethora of coaches out there and they market themselves to us, and it's almost like finding a counselor that's helpful.
That's true. I think the first place you start is, in the office with the resources that we have, and then speaking with other agents that maybe you've seen or you admire their business, or you're like, wow, they're really doing it, and I like the way they're doing it. Talk with them, find out who they're using. And I think it's okay if you start with someone. If they're not a good fit, like you said, just like a counselor, you got to find what works for you. This is your business. I think that, a lot of us agents don't realize this is your business. So the decisions that you make have to be what is going to be beneficial to you, your business, your family. So don't be shy about, making a decision based on that. But obviously I would start with KW because nobody does it better. And within KW, I would try to identify who that coach is.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. It's, be honest with your coach, be upfront, say, hey, I want to talk about this topic, or, hey, I'm frustrated because you don't speak about this, or, hey, I wish you would teach this class, or just ask for what you want.
I have a question. I have a question. Hi, Sissy.
Hey.
So this is, and I don't want this to sound in any other way than just what it is. It's genuine. We have an amazing group of people here. What can all of us do to help you?
I think I said this in the team meeting video. I really would love to meet with you one-on-one, or have a phone conversation one-on-one, and hear, what is it that you're trying to do with your business? Because all our goals are different. Not everybody wants to be a millionaire real estate agent. I mean, they don't. And then a lot of people do. So, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish with this business? And then what can our office and myself do to help facilitate getting you there? Because we can make all kinds of assumptions. We can assume that, we've got killer trainings on the calendar, which we do, but maybe that's not what you need. And that's not to say that I can deliver anything you ask for, because I can't. But if we can tweak and make better what we've already got going, that's what the whole purpose of the trainings that we offer. The whole purpose of me being here to help support you is that. So if I don't know, there's no way I can help. But if I do
Yeah.
know, I can.
What I'm hearing is help me help you.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so give us a parting thought, if you would, Sissy. Tell us what do we need to hear in a nutshell. And this is one of 1,000 pieces of parting information I'm sure you have, but what's the first one that comes to your mind? Give us a little bit of encouragement, give us a little bit of um, um, confidence. Again, these are people that 6 months ago, year and a half ago, they said, oh my gosh, if only I get a real estate license, I can use a real estate business to achieve all the things that I want to achieve. And just like you, and just like me, and just like Candace, and the rest of us that are a little further along on the road, like we dealt with adversity, we struggled, we wanted to quit, like all these things. Well, give us a little bit of share some of your confidence with them.
Well, my favorite quote is, "It's never too late to become who you could have been," and I believe that to my core.
That would make an awesome billboard, by the way.
Somebody famous said it, and I am embarrassed to say I don't remember who right now, but I believe that to my core. And if you are not evolving personally, professionally, spiritually, whatever, in some way, we're dying. And if you have a goal, if you have a dream, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, how successful you've been or not been. Like, everyone is capable of becoming who they want to be. It requires work and effort, but I would just encourage people with that. And it's so funny because before I came to KW 8.5 years ago, self-talk, I'm like, oh, please, these mantras, whatever, but do not listen to your limiting beliefs. And I have a lot of them myself. I mean, I fight them every day. So we all do. So I think it's important to let go of who you think you should, could, would have been, and focus on who you can and want to be. And just let go of anything, any mindset that might be holding you back. Because there's incredible potential in this industry. And one of the things I love the most about it is when you look at our office and when you look at agents you'll work with, anybody can be successful in this business and really successful. And that is exciting to me. That's really, really cool. I love that. I love seeing people just blow up in this business. I think it's really, really cool.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
This is no small feat. I know that the leadership team feels incredibly lucky to have you. Thank you very, very much for all that you've accomplished and for joining us here today. Just a quick housekeeping note. I know we had a couple of requests for an open house session. I don't know if this is going to be the right day and time, but if no one can come, I will do a video anyway about it. But let's say 12 to 1 o'clock this upcoming Tuesday in this room, in Zoom, 12 to 1 o'clock, we'll do open houses A to Z. I'll give you some pointers. I'll give you some tactics. I'll give you some strategies, and I'll record the whole thing so that you can go back and watch it as much as you'd like. That'll be from 12 to 1 o'clock on Tuesday. I'll be sending out the week at a glance here momentarily. Everything on on Thursday and Friday that we have scheduled, clearly we won't do that. And I also, Sissy, don't go too far now because we're going to invite you to participate in this too. We're going to go around the room really quickly, and we're just going to quickly say our one thing for the day. So what is the one thing that you absolutely have got to get done today to move your world forward? Maybe it's real estate related, maybe it's not, I don't care. But let's figure out what is that one thing, and let's tell everyone so we have some extra accountability around that. Melissa, why don't you start?
Sure. I am going back through my personal database and just reaching out to my sphere that I have not yet, so I can go ahead and add them to my database.
Beautiful. Awesome. Ryan.
I have 2 potential leads that I need to follow up with today to see if they're actually that.
Okay.
So that I need to try to get a hold of those two people today.
Just remember, if they're not ready this week, they're going to have a real estate need in the future. So remember,
Exactly.
we're
It
playing
seems
the
like they're
long
getting
game.
in that direction. So
Awesome. Corey, what are you working on today?
Today, picking one thing, let me just say what I'm gonna do from this conversation.
Okay.
I'm going to begin the farming, like focusing on how to do that. Just looking into the strategy of it and picking the neighborhoods. I already have a few in mind, so just picking out a few and getting going on it.
Beautiful. Michael.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Sissy, thank you so much for stepping
Michael.
up. My one thing today is getting a handle on my list of vendors. I got a listing agreement signed last night, and they're going to need a ton of help with stuff for their house. I mean, carpet, carpentry, plumbers, you name it. So I really need to give them some good people. And so I'm going to be spending my day just coming up with a list of vendors really for them.
Beautiful. All right. Make sure you're recording everything, so you only have to do that project once now.
Right. Absolutely.
Anthony.
Good morning, Sissy, and thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I really appreciate the nuggets that you left us with today. I hear it often from my coaches, which is Bill and Candace, prioritizing what's most important to your day. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on today, getting my D2 completed. I've started it. It's been half blinked, but I'm going to finish it today and get it taken care of. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Candace.
I'm meeting with Leanza today to get my database cleaned up and ready for December. That's it.
All right, Jenny.
I'm going to work on my marketing for my Reverse 100.
Awesome. Reverse Bold 100. I'm like really excited to, we haven't put the finishing touches on this, but Candace and I are mostly Candace, truthfully, is working with a vendor or two. We've already gotten one, and we are probably going to be doing a Reverse Bold 100 for our group after the holidays. So awesome. Donna, what are you working on today?
Today, I am working on identifying referral partners around the metro area, specifically the west and south sides. So I need to contact market centers to identify the right agents to refer my clients to.
Beautiful.
And thank you,
That is
Sissy. I
music
appreciate
to
you.
my ears. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite one so far.
And Donna, I grew up south of Atlanta, Peachtree City, Fayette County. So if you do need some folks down there, let me know.
Very good. Thank you, Sissy. I appreciate it. And I look forward to meeting with you, Sissy.
Yes, thanks.
Forward
Donna.
to my one-on-one.
Yay.
All right, Molly, what are you focused on today?
So today I am working on my database, and I'm actually on my way to the office to come spend some time with some fellow agents.
Yay.
Excellent. All right. Antoine, how about you, sir? All right. Well, okay. What are you up to today, sir? Oh, I don't know. It looks like you're frozen. We'll come back to you. How about Tracy?
Good morning. My one thing is I'm definitely stopping by the office today to poke my head in to have a conversation with you, Bill.
Okay.
And that's my definite one thing today.
Okay. Beautiful. Larry, how about you, sir? What is your one thing for today?
Oh, hey, thank you again, Sissy, for
Hey,
all that
Larry.
great. Hey, thank y'all for the great information. Really just focusing on game planning to grow my business. Gotta tear it down and build it back up. So yeah, just game planning.
All right. All right. So come up with something maybe small that you can say to yourself, hey, I will win today if I fill in the blank. Let's say add 2 people to my database, or if I, learn how to use a particular type of technology. Like come up with something that's definitely achievable today, go knock it out, and your brain will be telling you that you're capable of doing that day after day after day. So excellent. Ebony, what are you working on today?
I have a couple tours lined up, so I'm gonna make sure those go well.
All right. Antoine, are you in a place where you're able to chat now?
I believe so.
All right, we can hear you. Okay. What are you focused on today?
Today I'm building my pipeline and studying the scripts.
Excellent. What script are you going to work on today?
I haven't gotten a chance to look at all the ones that were there, but anyone that I can use basically to talk to some FISBOs.
Okay, there's lots of FISBO stuff in there, so good stuff.
Okay.
Stacy, what are you working on today? What's your one thing?
One thing, I'm heading to the office right now for Code of Ethics. And Sissy, I cannot wait to meet with you one-on-one. I'm a new agent. I don't have 6 months, right? So I'd love to talk with you about how to, get this going. So how do we arrange? Do we just call you? How do we arrange time with you?
Yeah, so my first official day is the 29th, the Monday after Thanksgiving. But if you want to shoot me a text or email, my email's really easy. It's sissysoldit@gmail.
Okay.
And just, we'll work it out, or call me, of course.
Okay.
And your number's on the list, I think, somewhere I've seen it, right?
I'll post it for everybody.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, Anthony.
Oh, you got me already. But
okay, Sissy, what is your one thing today?
Did you say me?
I did.
Okay. I submitted an offer last night. So my one thing is to get that offer accepted. I got to do what I got to do. We've seen 21 homes. So
whoa,
it's time to wrap that up.
All right. Did I miss anyone?
I think it's your turn.
Okay, my turn. So yesterday I told you I was going to set 3 appointments. I actually set 5.
Wow.
So today I am, I'm going to set 2 more, and I'm going to leave a little early to hang out with my family for a few hours before the end of the day. So that is my one thing today. All right, I didn't miss anyone, right? Ryan, did I ask you? Right, okay. All right, guys. Thank you for being here today. Again, Sissy, congratulations. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
We will have you back soon. You got a wealth of information, and it's just one more example of somebody who had a strong desire to build a business, and then just went about it, and just every day just put your head down and did the work and learned, and super intentional, and you've earned this role. So congratulations.
Well, thanks, guys.
All right, beautiful, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.